All right. Hello, everybody. It is Saturday. We are all here in Florida. I've got Jamie and Adam here. And tonight we have Steven with us. So we're all going to talk about relationships in recovery. Oh, my goodness.
Guys, get really excited. Get really excited. I need to know how many people have had a relationship during recovery. How many people here are married in recovery? If you are married or in a relationship, drop it in the comments. Let us know if you are a married person or in a long-term relationship in recovery.
Yes. Or have you been in a relationship in recovery and had a terrible experience or a good experience? I think that with relationships in recovery, it can go one of two ways. Either really, really, really good or really, really, really bad.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. The Pucketeers. I've been alone since recovering. Good for you.
I think that that's really important to take time, in your recovery to build that foundation for yourself. For sure.
Yeah, I agree. We have a couple people engaged. Kimberly is engaged.
Okay. Congratulations, Kimberly.
Cindy is in a relationship. Ooh, we got a married in recovery. Jessica's married.
Jessica wants you to stay in the comments here.
Yes. Oh, and Cindy says she just got
engaged. Nice. Congratulations.
Tara says, I am in a LTR with a partner in recovery.
Long-term relationship.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
I'm not good at all the abbreviations these days.
Me neither, I just guessed.
Awesome. All right. Risa. Hi, Risa. Okay.
So we've got some different topics we want to talk about. We're going to hear from the guys. The guys are going to talk too.
Sure.
About, different being in recovery and how to separate your married life and put your recovery first, because they say if we don't put our recovery first, then we will lose everything, right?
That's right. Anything you put before your recovery, you will lose. So how do you put your recovery first when you're in a relationship with somebody, when you're under the same household with somebody, when you're just getting to know somebody and you're going through that honeymoon phase and everything is so amazing?
Mm-hmm.
How can you put your recovery first in that time?
Steven, we'd like to hear from you on the panel.
Yeah, tell us about our relationship.
How do you put your recovery first?
Yeah.
I focus on my recovery and not the person I'm with.
Yeah.
Very simple. They suggest you do it in the first year.
Well,
if you don't, it'd be, detrimental to your life.
Can you guys hear that? Let us know if you can hear them back there in the comments. Yes, that is what they say, right? Put your relationship first in the first year of recovery. And it is very simple, but it's not very easy. Yeah.
So let's see.
I'm not going to repeat that out loud.
Yes, we see you. Hey, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Anything that we can do to change the way that we feel, which is so, why you have to be so careful, because I can tell you from, years of working with women in recovery, I have seen relationships be the number one thing to take people out.
That's right. The two most dangerous things in a person's early recovery, even in long-term recovery, is finances and relationships. Is that right? Did I say that right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, finances and relationships, sure. I mean, I think that's in recovery or not in recovery. I mean, typically, they say one of the leading causes of marriage disputes is typically money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, times get real good when it's plentiful, and then times can be stressful if the car note is due and you're scrambling to pay the car note.
Right. Cause arguments and yeah, all kind of things.
I see in the comments, Boston. What's up, man?
Yes. Okay, so if you guys haven't noticed, you probably haven't, but just so you guys know, we have all 4 of our profiles on this together. So some of you guys are on Jamie's page, her Facebook, some of you are on my Facebook, some of you guys are on her YouTube, some of you guys are on my YouTube. So there's a lot of comments. So I just want to let you guys know I'm trying to keep up with them, but they are going.
Yes.
Okay, Steven, you got to speak up. Gretchen says that John Boy said he can't hear you.
He's cleaning the peanut butter out of his ears.
Maybe I could turn this up a little too.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, one thing I learned, or one thing that my mentor or sponsor taught me when I was in recovery, when we got back together. So I'll just give you a little backstory, right? If you guys don't already know, many of you do. Steven and I have been married for 14 years now, but we were in our addiction together for many of those years. And then we kind of separated for a minute in the end of our addiction. And then when we got clean, we got back together, but we knew that if we were going to make it, that we had to focus on ourselves first before we came back together as a relationship. Now, that didn't mean we didn't talk on the phone sometimes or see each other at meetings, but that was really the extent of it for about the first year of our recovery. And then when we moved back together, we had like boundaries and non-negotiables and like rules to protect us in our recovery. But one of those things was that I can never tell him how he needs to work his program of recovery. That is not my business. And it is not up to me to decide what is right and what is wrong for him in his recovery. That's up to him to decide.
Mm-hmm. And that can be challenging if, say, you have somebody who works a different kind of program, What's
sure.
up, Josh?
TOC in the house.
So like, Adam and I have a different recovery. We work different kind of programs. Like some things we're, he's more liberal on, some things I'm more liberal on. We're just, it's different. And so of course, like, me being like the wannabe helper and where I like, work in treatment and sponsor people, all that. Like I'm like, no, but if you do it this way, then it'll be better. You know what I mean? And that can be challenging because, as we like the further that I learn about recovery, like the more I learn that different pathways work for different people, but definitely as long as I feel like there's like a forward motion, like that people are, working on themselves, they're staying connected. I think that those are like the biggest things, like, I mean, imagine thinking about people who are, if you believe in harm reduction or if you believe in, MAT, and then if you don't, right, it's like, how are you able to kind of like put those differences aside if one person believes in 12-step and one person says, no, you just have to go to church 3 times a week, right? Like, how do you kind of navigate through those things? And so,
yeah. I heard one thing. There was like it's some type of Asian proverb or something. They were talking about there's multiple ways to the top of the mountain. Like you go and climb Everest. Not everybody climbs Everest the exact same route, the exact same way, at the same pace. So you can't really judge other people's trips up the mountain. My wife is really good at straight line, straight up. I'm just going to make it happen. Me as a man, me as whoever, I'm a little bit more, I want to wander around and check, make sure nobody's in the bushes because I got trust issues. And if once nobody's in the bushes, then I'm going to make my next step. So I'm a little bit slower. She runs at it a little bit more full force head on. And I'm a little bit more like Am I going to fall through the ice? Let me put my toe on it and see if it's sturdy enough before I take my next step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a lot like you too, Steve. Yeah.
Skeptical.
Yeah,
Mhm.
skeptical, trust issues, bunch of different things that could be attached to all that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's okay, right? I always say like slow and steady wins the race. It's okay to go slow. Like what I presume is the right speed is just the right speed for me. It's not necessarily the right speed for him.
Mhm.
Right. Like all four of us got different speeds. All four of
Mhm.
us have different formats. Some of
Right.
us are nothing but the 12 steps, which is awesome if that works for you. And some of us are like, well, let me try MAT. Let me try whatever. Right. So it's an individualized journey. But
Mhm.
sometimes when you're wrapped up in a relationship or marriage or boyfriend or girlfriend or partner, sometimes it's like, well, if you just did it my way, everything would be great. And sometimes it works like that. Sometimes it doesn't, depending on how you feel as a person.
Yeah. But we should not try to sponsor our spouses. That's not
Yeah.
the right way.
Will you be my sponsor?
Yeah, definitely.
Or their undercover sponsor.
Um,
I'm not your sponsor, but I'm going to sponsor you.
Yeah. Like I feel like I really being
Never been there before.
Yeah. Like they don't tell us what to do already. They're might be a sponsor in recovery, but they definitely sponsor that trash getting out.
Yeah, I feel like wives are naturally kind of like directional. You might say
Mhm.
bossy. I call it directional.
I call
You
it
know?
leadership.
Leadership, yes. Just very strong leadership roles. But knowing like how to kind of like navigate that and being able to say, here's like a really big thing is to being able to say like that's my stuff or that's not my stuff. Like, hey, well, that's not my stuff. So
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
and because like and of course because we love our husbands so much, we want to help,
Mhm.
right? And whatever way we can, but sometimes it's not our job to help.
Yeah. And I think men too, when we go through things, like they want to fix it because that's just what men typically do. Like, what's wrong with you and how can I fix it? And I
Mhm.
think as women, or for me anyways, like sometimes I just need to like process my emotions, and there's really no like fixing it in this moment, and just allowing each other to have space to process through things.
Right. Bad shit crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, like that. We actually, Adam and I had a conversation like that last night, where I was feeling like very emotional and I was trying to tell him, he's like, well, what do I need to do this more? Do I need to do that? And we're like, no, I'm not saying you're doing
Yes.
anything wrong. I'm just saying like, I'm feeling this way. And I just want to like talk about it so I
Yeah.
can process.
But me as a man, I'm like, she's feeling this way because I done did something wrong. Because there's such a thin line between it's not your fault and it's all your fault, because the face looks the same, the tone looks the same, the reaction looks the same. So I'm like, all right, here we go again. Always my fault. Always their fault, for sure.
Yeah. So here's now I haven't been in this situation but what do you do if your partner goes out and uses?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really tough one. And that is what makes relationships so dangerous in recovery.
Yeah, because I don't want to fall off. You already
Mhm.
fell off. It took me almost 7 years to get where I'm at. Like, I love you and
Right.
stuff, but damn, I ain't trying to go back that way neither.
Mhm.
Which is sometimes a little selfish because,
Yeah,
what are
but
you-
you
what are
gotta
your-
be
what are your
selfish.
thoughts, bro? She falls
So-
off. You keep running it.
So this is how it works in our house. Is if one of us should relapse before they could ever enter back in the house, they have to go to detox.
Mhm.
And then
Right.
from there,
So,
I
like,
think
putting
obviously
forth effort.
we were talking about earlier that people have different avenues on
Right.
how to get to the top of the mountain. Well, if you fall off and you go to detox, you come back, obviously the way that you were trying to climb the mountain wasn't working. So now, like right now, you're in this place where nobody can tell you how to run your recovery because you're doing the thing, right? But now, if that was to happen, now all of a sudden you've lost that right. Like
Because you
now
were
it can be more-
unsuccessful in
Yeah.
your attempt.
Right. So now
Right.
it's like, okay, well, now you have to be more subjective. My
Right.
mother-in-law calls it eating crow. And I used
Yes.
to hate when she said that, bro. I used to hate it. I just But that's where you're at. You're eating crow.
Because if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Right.
So what's going to change coming back into it? Like that's one of our non-negotiables that we agreed on before we moved in together, that if one of us relapses, the other one has to leave the house. And really it's to protect our
the kids.
children. Yeah.
Mhm.
They have to leave the house until they go to detox, a halfway house, treatment center, whatever that is.
So if I don't get right, I'm stuck at the Motel 6.
No, if you
or
don't
in
get
the-
You don't
in
get
the-
right.
you
You
don't
ain't
live
going
here.
to motel because I'm going to take all the money. You're going to have to figure it out.
Right.
I got to pay the bills while you messing up.
in most relationships, that might be the case. But
Right.
hey, listen, if I go out, it's going to be a long run.
Yeah, and it's scary because you do. I think that they have what is it? Is this the RAP plan, like a
Yes.
wellness recovery action plan is what that is called, and
Sorry.
so you have like
I have a book in there, but I'll show it to you
Okay.
later. Okay.
You want to have this like in place already as like preparation and as guidelines and boundaries, because it is so dangerous to when you have like two people who are in recovery, because guess what, if they're in recovery, then that is a probably 99.9% indicator that they have a lot of heavy trauma. And your normal person comes into a marriage with, say, like 2 suitcases. Well,
Yep.
people in recovery come to a marriage with
With a
like
semi-truck.
like a
Yes.
semi truck full
Yeah.
of baggage and
Couldn't fit
trauma.
in
Got the U-Haul.
Yeah. Too small. Too small. Gotta get the semi.
Yes,
I mean,
look,
yes.
Dilly's going to rap class this weekend.
Awesome.
I think,
Super
I think
helpful.
the most imperative thing about it, though, is time. Like,
What do you mean?
when that happens, so in the event that your spouse should relapse, I don't think it's something that you should ponder on or try to figure out. It needs to be like urgency behind it. You need to go to detox like now, because what happens is if they stay out or they lollygag, or you allow them to lollygag around
Right.
behind it,
The
chances
back,
of
right.
it, because you're susceptible to your spouse. So
Right.
Right.
if
Yes.
you go out and you're not like diligent, or what do they say?
Right, but they're out there
You-
wilding for a couple of weeks. You're the next one.
You've got to be
Mhm.
vigilant. Is the word I
Yes.
was looking for. Because
Yes.
you need them. They can take you out before you ever get them
Mhm.
clean.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
in
And then
any
nobody
situation.
wins.
Right.
Then
Yeah.
absolutely nobody wins.
Yeah. And just to go back to that, like wellness recovery action planning, like we made that non-negotiable before we moved in together. I didn't even know about the RAP yet, but part of RAP is like making a crisis plan. But even before the crisis happens, what do the signs look like? Like, what does it look like when things are breaking down for you? And so maybe you need somebody to kind of check you on those things. Like you have a support partners, right? Like people in your life that you let know about what it looks like so that they can help you through it before those things happen. But if it does happen, what is the plan going to be? Who's going to watch the dog? Like who's going to take the kids to school? You know, and just having all of those things planned out, even though like it feels for me, it felt really like I felt anxious making that plan because I don't even want to talk about that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But you
it's-
have to.
Yeah, because it's important. It's like an emergency type thing. If something goes awry and we're not knowing how to deal with it, you're so caught up in your emotions that you don't
Right.
have a plan to revert to. But if you got it documented, we're going to do this. It allows the emotion to get out of it and a little bit more logic to get into the solution.
Mhm.
Because that emotion, oh my God, she just went out there. How dare she did that to me? I can only imagine. And it just keeps going
Yeah.
and going.
I'm going to
and
show
going.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I got something for her.
Yep. Yeah.
I seen somebody in the comments said that I admitted that I was the wrong one, and I was
Yeah.
a very smart man. Shout out, Big Ernest in Louisiana.
Shout out. Oh,
Yeah.
is that who it was? I'm going to
Yeah,
find it.
homeboy,
Okay.
Ernest in
my
Louisiana.
There you go.
Yes.
Taking blame. Smart man.
Yes. Ernest has clearly been around the block.
Yes.
So like what if there's a situation where so my kid's dad was on Suboxone.
Mhm.
And so, you know, it kind of like at times made me feel like almost kind of like jealous, like, oh, he gets something, you
Like a
know,
crutch
like
or
a
something,
crutch or
yeah.
something, even though
Right.
that's not like what it
Right.
is, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's viewed as
But
that,
I had
depending on-
like a weird, you know, view on it at that time when we were
Yeah.
together, which was several years ago. But or people maybe, I take mental health medication, right? So, if Adam had, which he didn't have that like in his past, but if that was something that was like triggering to him,
Right.
you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Like I'm on
if he
Seroquel
had
or
been,
something, right?
if he had been
Right.
like addicted to it or to whatever.
What's the one that's really popular these days? Gabapentin. Some people take, and it's prescribed, and they're supposed to take it, and
Right.
other people that can be a trigger,
Right.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that really comes down to like having really honest conversations with your partner about those things so that you guys can kind of talk through that and figure out what works for you, because just like what may work for some person in recovery may not work for another person in recovery. But in a relationship, you have to like look at yourself like us against the problem, not me against you, so you have to talk about those things honestly and have those conversations so that you're not stuck in resentment or, jealousy or whatever that is, because that's real. Like if we're not using and somebody is using, or what even we perceive as using around us, that's normal to feel that way. Like to feel like, well, how come you get to, but I don't, Yeah.
Yeah. And Ashley, we're out here trying to stomp on that stigma about, Suboxone and methadone. Like that's between like you and your doctor, you know what I mean? So, they say the same thing about my mental health meds, you know what I mean? Even the nurse who prescribed it to me was like, it's okay. It's kind of like a crutch, to help you through, and it's like, well, no, like I need this. Like if I don't, at least in this season.
And that's the thing. Listen, nobody has the right to tell you that what you're doing for your recovery isn't working, or that you're clean or not clean, because I don't get to make that decision about somebody else. The only person that I can make that decision about is myself. Yeah.
But why do you think that we're so judgmental of others? We're judgmental of mental health medication. I use cannabis for my recovery, and some people are like, oh, go pick up a white chip, or you're doing it wrong, or you're not. And there was Suboxone. That's the big one. We post sometimes videos, Suboxone in recovery. Suboxone isn't sober, like all these people judging others. It's sometimes challenging for me. That's actually what personally pushed me out of the rooms in Southwest Florida, about an hour and a half south of where we're located right now here in Sarasota. So like it was tough, because you're coming with a little bit of shame and guilt, and then you try to get yourself right, and you find something that actually truly works. Like I'm not pawning my mom's pistol. I'm not kicking doors. I'm not selling fake pills. You know what I mean? But then some people are like, oh, well, you're not really, that's a big thing in Fort Myers. You smoking weed in Fort Myers, you ain't sober, man. I got 3 years away from alcohol and 2 years off the needle, and I hit the joint a couple times to go to sleep, and everybody's judging you. Right. So that's been a really challenging one for not so much me, because I don't care about people's opinions anymore 7 years into this. But like the newcomer or something that falls off, and I'm not recommending go off and get a prescription or go off and I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that other people's path up the mountain consists of different remedies to allow themselves to be a better version of themselves, like harm reduction, like handing out needles. I came from right here in Southwest Florida area, and I went up to where we're at in Athens, Georgia, and I'm like, y'all are doing what? Y'all are doing what? Because here where we're located, and here where me and my wife are going in a couple of days, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're going to jail.
You are.
You're on the corner handing out water pistols.
I've been to jail for it.
You're going to jail. But in all turn, it's actually trying to help people. It's trying to open the door, so when that person is ready to actually overcome and prevail through their dire needs of addiction, that the door's open for somebody. So
you have a relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Because well, if Jamie or Adam was willing to hand me a needle when I'm out there in them streets with dirt on my shoes, once I clean up my boots and start walking the right path, I'm sure that they would help me when I was down.
I want to go find another way. If they did it, then maybe that's the person I know that I could talk to that could show me the way.
Like developing a safe atmosphere for people, because let's be real, man, you trading out needles to somebody you don't even know, bro, that's a little on the spooky side. I used to walk in
It is actually.
inside Walmart.
If you were in your addiction, I'd be like,
Yeah.
what do you want to do?
Yeah, or you're in
Yeah.
Walmart and be like,
good.
my grandma's got diabetes. I'm not sure which one she needs. What do you recommend? Oh, those? Okay. And then you're getting out of Walmart, you're skipping to the car, you're like, got them. You know?
Yeah, been there.
Yeah.
But if somebody that I didn't know tried to hand me some, I'd be like, they're a cop for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Could have been what I was on though. Okay,
Right.
there's somebody, I think this is a good question because this is what happens most of the time, right? When you're in a relationship with somebody and they do relapse, they don't tell you that they relapsed, right?
No.
So-
95% of the time they don't say it correct.
Right. So if you're in a relationship with somebody and they did, and you know that they've used, right? If you're in recovery and I'm in recovery and you use, I know you did it, whether
Clear-
you say it or
Clear as
not.
day. Right.
So what do you do in that situation?
Mm.
Who wants to go first?
Go, Steven.
What would
Your
you
loved
do?
one comes in high.
Yeah.
Tell them
but
what
they
we
deny
got
it.
here. Tell them what we do. What's our plan?
Well, I got a drug test.
Yeah, we got drug tests in my pantry right
So you'll
now.
you'll drop him for a UA
I absolutely
if he's trying to pull a
would.
stunt, or you
We've
think
done
he,
it before.
seriously?
We had. Let me tell you a story. This
Is it
is a messed
supervised?
up story. It was supervised actually. We had this girl come over, right? I was at work one day, and this girl sat with our kid. She was our neighbor. She was our friend at the time. Not after this happened though. And she started doing my dishes while she was watching the kids. I only needed her to watch the kids for like an hour or something. Anyways, she thought she saw a spoon that had black on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
She took a picture of it. Okay. Then when we get home, she like tells her man, and then they come tell us about it. And I got drug tests in the house. So go ahead. Like you want to say I've done
Right.
so we both wound up doing a supervised drug test. She went in, watched me. He went in, watched him, and both of us were clean. And she
Yeah.
ain't never been in my house since.
Wow. Wow.
But I mean, if that was a suspicion,
Right.
then we want to make sure that we
Mhm.
feel safe in our own home.
Right.
Yeah, because let's be real, when we were out there in them streets and everybody was telling us, Adam, you need to get yourself right. Adam, you look like
Mhm.
trash. Adam, you're skinnied up. Adam,
Yeah.
your hair's out to here. Oh, I ain't got no problem. You know, like sometimes we're so stuck in denial, which we're talking about here, you know, denying it. Like, I don't have a problem. I didn't relapse. I'm not high. I don't need to. And then it goes, when you're in your addiction, I don't need to brush my teeth or change my clothes or, you know, so denial, that's a tough one. You know,
Yeah.
denial is typically an area before rock bottom is found.
So what do you do if you have the drug test and they won't do it? Then what?
Beat them. Deuces.
I mean, you could always hit them with the one hitter quitter and get a hair follicle.
Who's gonna
No,
deny
don't
a
do that.
drug
We don't
test?
support that.
You walk up to anybody in recovery that's clean and offer them a drug test.
Yeah.
And their first
Yeah.
sign is give it here.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Well, I'll show you.
So
I got
if they
something
deny
for you.
it right off the gate, they're fucked.
Right.
They're
Right.
not
Guilty.
right.
Guilty. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't pee right now.
Yeah.
Let me drink some
I
water.
shouldn't have. What the usual response is, I'm not going to pee for you. You should know that I'm clean.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Great question, though, for sure.
Yeah, that
Thank you.
was a great
If y'all got
question.
any other questions, feel free to get in there. We're on here for about another
Yes.
half hour or so. We would love to go over any other questions that you might have for yourselves.
Yeah, drop them in the comments. And yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. If you have any questions or topics related to recovery, relationships, whatever. Yeah. Let's see. Let's look at some comments. My problem is staying clean as I look so much better when I was on it. It's hard to accept weight gain. Oh, I feel you, sister. I feel you. But in the nasty way you feel about yourself, I think that's something Jamie and I both have some experience with. Is just, first of all, when I was in my addiction, I thought I looked good, but trust and believe, I looked like a whole train wreck. But when I got clean, like I gained a little bit of weight and it made me like kind of feel uncomfortable in my own skin. But it really, like, I think we have to just like love ourselves through that phase of our recovery. Because I think we all go through that phase. Like you put the spoon down, you pick up the fork, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Burgers over blow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did the same thing when I got out of jail. Let's see, this was May of 2016. I was 198, and I've been like taking all these vitamins and trying to stay active and stuff, and I still got 50 or 60 on me from then, you know. But then you learn, and you were actually malnourished, and you were
Right.
suffering vitamin and mineral deficiency and dehydration by way of water. I mean, a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. You know what I mean? So sometimes that weight, even though it's not too good on the membrane, like when you're seeing it, because I don't really like the way I see myself either, but sometimes healthy weight is better than strung out and super skinny.
Right. And I feel like, like there's an order, like you kind of have to prioritize like being well.
Right.
Mhm.
Get
First,
yourself right
on the
before you get
inside.
yourself
Yeah,
right.
on the inside and your mental health. And then, you know what I mean? You can start doing some things. I think I started working out December of 2016. So I came into recovery July of 2015. So that was what, 18 months, you know, 18
too.
months of working on myself. And then I was like, okay, now that I've got this foundation, right? Because it's like a repetitive, right? Like building up the
Muscle memory.
foundation. Yeah. And then I was able to like, okay, well now I can try doing something else, you know?
I was 18 months too. I mean, it was when I was 18 months, I was getting really tired just because I wasn't eating well. I was drinking caffeine all day long. You know, I was running on fumes and caffeine. And
yeah, give me some Red Bull and a pack of cigarettes.
right. Yeah. The energy drinks.
Yeah,
oh my
the $5
goodness.
one that makes me feel like I got wings.
Yeah. But then I started changing like small things a little at a time, you know, like drinking more water, eating more protein, moving a little bit more, taking vitamins and supplements.
Right. But you got to do it in, like they were saying before, you got to take like almost on the verge of baby steps, because if you go and try to change all this stuff, you're going to be like, oh my God, it's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But if you like say, I'm going to drink a half a gallon of water and it takes you 3 days to get there, and then you do it for 3 or 4 days, well, now you can take on something else. I'm not going to eat sugar after 8 o'clock, whatever. Right. These are a bunch of examples.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, it's just like baby steps with that, you know, and the most important thing I feel like is just continuing you know, to put your recovery first. So that's the same, you know, same thing we were saying is putting your recovery first. And then it can become like now, you know, the gym is like kind of our part of our pathway. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Okay, so quick question. Any thoughts on drinking a protein shake type drink and then laying down and watching TV, help or hurt? I personally think protein can't hurt ever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, as long as you didn't eat a pizza and lay down right before, which if you did, that's okay, and we support you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes what I'll do is, so I rarely ever eat breakfast. I typically like go to lunchtime and then eat a big lunch, big dinner. But sometimes if we get some type of protein shake in us, it'll actually stir up your metabolism a little bit better. We're not doctors, and this isn't medical advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just what it worked for us.
Right. Along our trail up that mountain. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So where do you find a support system? She says that she's trying, but she doesn't have any support here.
I mean, online, that's probably, I mean, I know it's not as good, but if there's that's what I had to do when I walked away from, you know, most of the in-person in Fort Myers. I did some online, you know, there's a lot of YouTube channels, a lot of great speakers. You know, I searched, you know, I would Google whatever I was dealing with and typically watch a video on it.
Yeah. There's a lot of virtual meetings as well. I mean, there's one called In the Rooms. There's one like, you know, there's all the A's that you can possibly think of. It's not just NA and AA. There's CA, there's OEA, which is Overeating Anonymous.
Yeah,
there's
HA.
SA, which is S Anonymous.
Heroin Anonymous. And
yeah.
And in all actuality, you're in a support system right here, right now.
Right.
So you don't have any support systems here at all, but you are here right now. And we've got 119 people on this live. So it's you and 118 other people that are supporting you.
Right.
Whether they're in the comments and you're reading it or they're not, everybody's just spectating, people watching like I love to do. There's still a support system right here, right now for you.
Yeah. And I've also really found like I have my own Celebrate Recovery. That's right. Good luck. Thank you.
Yep.
But I found, you know, like I had a recovery I have still a recovery network here where I live. but also I found a huge recovery network. Like, I mean, hello, like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
online too. And
Right.
it's been really cool because there's so much more of us just to like see something
Yeah.
that's so much greater than yourself.
And greater than you would ever imagine.
Yeah.
Too, because I
right.
mean, y'all are like our 5th collaboration. We've been to Monroe, Louisiana. We've been to Florida 3 times. We've been to North Carolina. We got somebody in Texas, Chase Savage. We're going to go see.
That's
You know,
awesome.
so we just consistently expand. You know, search and you're going to find kind of thing.
Yes.
Right.
And I want you to, Ayla, I hope that you can see this in the comments. Here's two resources right here. Former Addicts Against Heroin is a Facebook page that you can join. He goes live every week, does recovery meetings. Here's another one. NANA. I'm not sure what that stands for, but go take a look. There's the password or the meeting
Yeah.
ID and the password.
Leave that up just for.
What's
for a
the
second.
11? Oh, what's the date? Oh, 24/7. Wow.
Oh wow.
There you go. That's a resource all
Yeah.
day.
That's it. I'm setting your alarm for
Absolutely.
3 a.m. and I'm waking you up. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, we'll leave that up for a minute.
But in case you're
Yeah.
up, you know what I'm saying? You're suffering from sleep deprivation, insomnia because you're new in recovery. For me, I had post-acute withdrawal symptoms. I had like the restless leg. I'd be doing Elvis competitions in my bed sleeping. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm not meant to sleep. Maybe I'm meant to get
Elvis
up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh yeah, I'm in here. I'm all shook up. Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. But maybe in the wee hours of the morning, that's, you know, the best time to
yeah.
to
Right.
get some help through the community because the world's not in your way.
Good. She says she screenshotted it. Okay.
Awesome.
Next question. Okay.
All right.
Why can't I be happy sober? I've used from the age of 16, and now that I'm finally have 2 years down, for once in my life, I'm the most miserable I ever am, and I just can't shake it. I just don't get it.
I would say, like, what are you doing as far as like what kind of like program are you working? Are you in counseling? Are you doing steps? Are you surrounding yourself with people who are trying to do the same things as you? Are there things you're still like holding on to? Like just there's so many things.
Yeah, kind of like doing an inventory of your life, right?
Right.
Like, how am I doing mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically? What are the areas of my life that I'm doing, like, work on those
Right.
things? What am I lacking in those areas? And, just like we were talking about the nutrition piece, just like taking it small, significant steps at a time, like small steps, but significant steps. Like,
Right.
how can I do a little bit better in this area?
Right. And when I read this exact comment, the first thing that comes to my thought is a person that says I can and a person that says I can't is both typically correct. So why can't I be happy when I'm sober? I just can't shake it. You can be happy sober and you can shake it. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm actually saying it could be tough, but it can be done. So sometimes, like, my wife has been working with me when we get into intense fellowship, aka an argument or a heated debate.
Intense fellowship.
Intense fellowship. We don't argue. We have intense fellowship. I got her a pair of 10-ounce gloves for Christmas. Just kidding. But sometimes for me, like I at that 2-year mark, I was basically suffering from the same thing. And one thing for me personally, speaking from my own experiences, it had to do with a lot of the things that I was putting in my eyes, my ears, and my mouth. It's the things that I was consuming. So am I drinking soda and eating Rib City cheese fries? Am I listening to straight thug and trap music like we fixing to go get the world back, dog? Because I used to live that life, right? Like I used to have the cornrows. I used to be on the block. So I had to change. When we go to intense fellowship, she talks about you have to skew your perception 1%. So instead of looking at it like this, look at it like this, right? And sometimes that can help you. Another thing that I do that might help you is when you first wake up, do a list of gratitude.
Yes.
And even if you are down bad and it just sucks, right? I'm grateful to be breathing. I'm grateful to be in Sarasota on vacation. I'm grateful that my wife hasn't yelled at me in 4 days. I'm grateful that X, Y, and Z, right? So try to express some type of gratitude. I made it another day. I know that the people don't like me. I don't like myself, but I got a chance to do it.
Yeah. I think that's a great suggestion, right? Like, how do you start your day? Like, starting your day with gratitude is a great idea, but maybe you can like look at how are you spending your day?
Right.
Are you laying down watching TV all day? Because sometimes that can lead to feeling depressed,
Yeah,
you know, like
that makes me depressed.
me too. So
Yeah.
maybe like taking a look at your day and seeing, you know, what can you do that will help improve? Like esteemable acts often make you feel better about yourself.
Right.
When you're doing good things, like small good things, like having integrity when nobody is looking, you know, putting the
Right.
grocery cart back or not telling a lie or whatever that is, you know.
Picking up a piece of trash that ain't yours next to the dumpster.
Right.
I mean, it could go, the list on that could go on and
Mhm.
on and on.
Or you could go to the extreme and try bungee jumping.
I don't know about that.
You guys
Me
ever
at
bungee jump?
260 pounds?
I've
You
never.
even bungee jump at that weight?
What's that one where the dude's in the chair? What's he say?
In what?
Double check.
Oh yeah, that was a TikTok. It was
Check,
so
double
funny. It went viral. They like pushed him off a cliff and he's like, double check the safety. It was funny.
Oh my goodness.
I've done inverted bungee jumping before when I was like their age, my kids' age. Never again. Never again.
Mm.
Yes.
I am terrified of heights. You will not catch me.
Yeah, I
there.
am now, but just wasn't then.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm scared of heights now, though.
I don't know. After I had
I'm
kids.
the big return on the grocery carts.
Yeah, Save Robbie.
What's
What
up,
is
Save
up,
Robbie?
Save Robbie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Aww.
Just trying to like focus on doing the next right thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And also, how do we get ourselves out of our head by like service work, right?
Yes.
Steven you have some sponsees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you have sponsees?
Allegedly.
Yeah. So so like
He has a service commitment in 30
Right.
minutes too.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So doing service work
Yes.
and
The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in service to others.
And others, yeah. I
Mhm.
agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that sounds easier said than done, right? Like I hear that all the time. Like you want to not feel so bad when you're down and out, go help somebody that's down and out. But
That's
like you're so
right.
stuck in your flesh, you're like, nobody wants to help me. I'm feeling like this and nobody came to me. But that's that difference in perception. That's different from
Right.
viewing it here and viewing it here. Because
Mhm.
if you go help a dude or a homegirl like you're gonna walk away from it and be like, man, maybe it wasn't that bad. Because me and her was fussing like a month ago when we walked into a recovery meeting. I think it was 12-step based or spiritual based, whatever. And like all these newcomers that were still in the program were like,
Yes.
I just got my phone
Yes.
and I just got a
Mhm.
weekend pass. And I'm sitting
Yep.
here like, damn, bro, I got 12 credit cards and all this other stuff. My problems ain't really as bad as I thought they was. Like
Mhm.
if they're straight happy because they got a home pass to go home, and I'm got my own house, my own car, my own everything, and I'm like in my feelings, like it just really set me back. So sometimes hitting a meeting and hearing from others and where they're at will put your life back into perspective of gratitude.
Yeah, I also believe that that's where the step work actually works. You know, I spend a lot of time in the Sarasota County Jail, and you know, I find myself every time I leave there grounded. You know, humble, I guess you could say, because it puts things in perspective of where you come from.
Yep. Been there before.
And that reminder is what you know keeps you there.
Yeah. So you actually go in on the inside, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So they let you in and then they let you back out for real.
Yeah.
How's that feel, bro?
Oh, it's different. And
It's different, I bet,
because,
right? Because you were right
you know,
there.
I already
You were in
know
there.
all the police officers in there, and you know
They
it's-
remember him.
Yeah, so it's like it's a different experience when you go back and you have it like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of strange, but
Right. It's probably like a
It's a
weird
blessing at
feeling
the same
too.
time.
Yeah.
yeah, the COs, they all know you. They've had to put hands on you. You know,
Right.
all kinds of different scenarios.
Right. And
but
now you're walking and
in a
healing
different
people.
light. Yeah, so you're in there trying to help people. And
Right.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at it.
That's correct.
Mm.
Totally agree.
Okay, so we have another question. Oh, okay. Anna's got am I saying that right? No, Ayla. Okay, so she has two questions. One of them is like, how do you get through the withdrawals? And then how do you get over feeling stuck? And I think that we've kind of covered like feeling stuck, like move a
Mhm.
muscle, change the thought, do the next right thing, do esteemable acts, try to change your perspective a little bit.
Do your daily routine differently.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Minimal changes and baby steps in the beginning lead to long adventures in the end.
That's right. Yeah. And as far as like the withdrawal goes, like we kind of talked about it earlier, like taking vitamins really helps your body like replenish the nutrition or the nutrients that you've lost along the way.
Sleep was huge for me in the
Yes.
beginning because I didn't sleep because of insomnia for so long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Drinking a lot of water. Oh my gosh. Water flushes your body out. So I remember like I would hear people say like drink water. And I'd be like, whatever, but it really does help so much.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then like, Motrin for aches and pains, Imodium for upset stomach, like treat the symptoms as they come.
Right.
That was one of the best things that I ever had somebody tell me when I was going through a methadone withdrawal.
Mhm.
And just give yourself some grace to rest.
Magnesium.
Yeah, for restless
Yes,
legs.
for restless legs is amazing. There are a lot of supplements that you can get. Whatever, like to keep you calm,
Mhm.
to try to sleep through it the best that you can and stay calm through it the best that you can. Also, once you do get, I feel like past like the third day, you can start taking walks,
Mhm.
and that
Yeah,
helps.
True.
Yeah.
You almost got to get up when you don't feel like getting
Yeah.
up, because if you don't get in motion, you'll never really, it'll just prolong it. Like,
Mhm.
do you ever really feel like going to the gym until 30 days later when you're looking in the mirror and you're seeing the results? Then it's like, mental health break kind of thing.
Yeah. I feel good when I leave the gym.
Right.
Like I don't
Like
necessarily want to
accomplishment.
go, but
Right.
exactly. I feel proud of myself that I went.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Melissa says, I feel you about the cops. Once I changed my life, cops in my town's got my criminal record and criminal record stayed. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but yeah. Josh says, relationships in recovery aren't a good idea. Usually they can work, but most times they don't. And really like that kind of is the truth. Like a lot of times, I remember when we were in rehab, everybody's like, no relationships, no rehab
First year or
romances.
whatever,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And I've seen it go both ways. I mean, I have two particular couples that I was in treatment with. It was 4 people. Now it's 2 couples. And 2 of them, one of the couples is engaged and the other 2 has like a 18-month-old baby. And they're both doing great,
Right.
but they made a decision to work on their recovery and really like focus on themselves. And they have a healthy relationship as a result of that.
Right.
Yeah.
But that takes a lot of work as individuals. You have to work on yourself individually before you can try to ever think about working on yourself as a relationship. If I didn't get myself right, I could never have a good relationship.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing is, I mean, if there's nothing you take away from this, then one thing, that's the takeaway. If you really want any relationship to work, not even a romantic relationship, any relationship in your life, the only way to really have healthy relationships is to have a healthy relationship with yourself. And the only way to
Right.
have that is to do the internal work that you have to do and learn boundaries and self-love and all of those things to help you have healthy relationships with others.
No,
Right.
no, can't make me. No.
Okay, Steve's got to go to the service commitment, so he's done.
All right.
He's tapping out.
Yeah. We had to force him to go on live with us anyways. He's a good sport though.
Yes, he is.
And Anne has a lot of wisdom.
Love you, Captain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What's up, Justin?
There he is. What's up, man? I just seen that. I just seen that tile reel you did when you held the tile up and then you threw it and the whole thing was done, bro. Mad props on that editing.
Oh, I want to see
Oh,
that. I'll
man,
have to check
was,
it out.
It was incredible.
Awesome.
He's definitely putting in hard work. You can tell.
Yeah. I love what they're doing over there at the Hope Shot. If you guys aren't following the Hope Shot, go follow the Hope Shot right now. They bring a lot of great recovery topics, inspirational stories. You guys got to go check them out.
Yes, for sure.
Yes. Okay. all right. So we have somebody that says they waited 5 years to get into a relationship. And trust me, it's worth it.
Yep. And that's really hard too, because, when you first come into recovery, it's like you're left with yourself, right? And still all your
Yeah.
defects. So the first thing you want to do to change the way that you feel is to hook up, right? Because that helps you to change the way that you feel.
That would make me feel better.
Yeah.
They will make me feel better because they
right.
like me. I need
Right.
somebody else to like
Right.
me.
Yes, exactly. So if you can go through that period of time, that kind of waiting period where you can build that strong foundation, especially for me in my experience, building a very strong relationship with Jesus for me was huge. If I did not have my relationship with Jesus, like I couldn't even go to Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah. And I shared this on our live last night. Like one of the most pivotal moments in my recovery was when I learned that I am not the person that I thought I was all of those years, like all this shame and guilt that I carry. Like I'm a bad person. I'm a bad mom. I'm a failure and all of these horrible things, because I was trying to make everybody else around me happy by being what they wanted me to be. And I had no idea who I really was. And I was obviously failing because you're never going to live up to everybody's standards.
Never, ever.
Yeah. But once I figured out that I could be who God wanted me to be, that was a game changer for me.
Right. They say don't let other people's attitude affect your altitude.
Right.
And that goes into way larger things past recovery too, because everybody's going to have an opinion. I want to open a business. Oh, well, what if you fail? I want to run a mile. Well, what if you break your leg? Like there's nothing in this whole wide world I haven't heard an opinion against the things that I wanted to do. So I challenge you to not listen to everybody's opinion.
Yes. And oh my God, the opinions we get on our videos sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You get lots.
Hey, Drew, how are you doing? Okay. Ariel, sometimes when two addicts are in a relationship and then they get sober, you'll find that when sober, we are complete opposites of when we are in addiction. You have to learn to love the new version of ourselves and our partners. That is so true. I've always said like getting back together with Steve after we got in recovery was like falling in love all over again with a new person, but somebody that I've always known and loved, but it was so different in a way too.
Yeah. I mean, you had to peel all them layers off. It's like the peeling of the onion, you got to get rid of the thing that hurt me or the thing that I did wrong or.
That's a big part of it right there. Deciding to let go of the past.
Right.
Like we did some really like ratchet stuff.
Yeah. And the average bear would want to hold on to that. You know what I'm saying? So that if you didn't take out the trash, you're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
Or if you didn't be nice to me, you're going to hear about it.
Yeah. And when I started letting go of shame and guilt and letting Jesus take the reins, it started making my life much simpler. And you can apply that into a relationship too, like what you were just talking about, Adam.
Yes.
If I have to release myself from the shame and guilt and forgive myself, if I'm going to be with my partner, I have to do the same thing for them too, because I have to allow them to show up as the changed person that they're trying to be, especially if I want them to do that for me. Okay. How is your relationship with family now that you're in recovery?
Horrible.
Yeah.
Mine is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, can be like that sometimes too.
Yeah. Like I tried to repair what I could, they talk about making amends unless it's going to hurt yourself or others. You can extend I look at it for me personally as I extended the branch. I said, I'm sorry. I did all this. I extended the branch of the relationship, but it's up to that other individual to grab a hold of my hand, the branch, and continue in the relationship. So if I extend the branch to you and you don't want to grab it, that's cool. But like, I can't keep doing that. So like my relationship with my family is not too good. I don't speak with my grandmother. I don't speak with my father. I don't speak with many of them. My aunts, my uncles, my cousins love me to death, but there's just some people maybe I did them so wrong that they can't heal from it. Or maybe I was not healed enough that when they came at me sideways, I ran my gums too hard and they'll never talk to me again. So it can go either way for sure for me.
Yeah. And that's okay. I mean, I think it's important. Like if you do have family in your life that's not ready to accept you for who you are becoming,
Trust you.
yeah, I
Right.
mean, it's important to have your space, because in order to become the person you're trying to become, you really need people around you that believe in that and know that you can do it.
Yeah, but then I was overwhelmed with that addict and entitlement. I just picked up my 90-day chip. Everybody's going to cheer for me. Go, Adam, go. And it's not really the case for me personally. There are people that said good job. There were people that clapped at the meeting. There were high fives and daps after the meeting. But like sometimes we think that just because we hit this milestone in our life that everybody's going to forget about all the grimy ratchet stuff that I did, all the trifling maneuvers, all the commission of felonies, all the bad that I brought into the world. I couldn't fix a lifetime worth of goof ups with a 90-day chip. And only looking back now did I realize that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I would say definitely like, but don't give up on it.
Not at all.
Like for me, my children, were very quick to, we love you, Mom. We don't care. They were
Right.
just, but there were some members of my family, that took a lot longer, right? It was that sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. And I was in the sometimes slowly part, with my family.
Right.
It took literally 5 years, for, my mom to kind of like put her wall down, her guard down, and be like, okay, well, you can, it's okay. Nobody died. We made it through it. It's going to be all right. And, that, 5 years, that was a long, long time, that I prayed and cried on the altar for family restoration. So,
yeah. And, we change as we grow in recovery, and, the things that maybe we wanted in the beginning change the more that we grow, and I think like we want the love and acceptance from our family. Like that's a totally natural thing to want the love and acceptance from our family. But once we love and accept ourselves, it's okay if everybody else isn't on board with that, and but it's hard with family. It's hard when it comes to family. I think that's like one of the most hurtful places, I think, because we've done so much stuff wrong that, but we have to just sometimes have space. Like what Jamie was just saying, in that case, like, I don't know, I'm speaking for you right now, but maybe what you did is like a living amends, like you just continue doing what you were doing, not trying to change her, but trying to change you.
Right.
And then eventually, even if it was 5 years later, eventually they'll come around if it's meant to.
If it's meant to be.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then it was like, oh, you can come move in. And I was like, no, like I'm own house.
Oh, no, we ain't going that far.
But
No,
thank you.
straight.
But I appreciate that.
We ain't gonna live like that no more.
But yeah, definitely. There was a question up here about two things I want to address. One about memory loss.
Okay, I saw that.
Yes, definitely. I feel like things did start to come back for me, but it took a little while. And I feel like that's maybe your brain and your ego protecting you, maybe that's God protecting you, you know what I mean? Maybe you just don't need to focus on those things that you
in this season
don't remember, like in that season. But then I feel like as you go, where like I've been in trauma counseling, sexual trauma counseling for like a couple months now. It's like it's like, okay, well now in this season, we're going to start pulling out these roots and we're going to start seeing, remembering things and being able to work through them and process them. Because if they were brought to my attention, maybe in early recovery, it could have been real easy for me to be like, I can't handle this. I need to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Stick a needle in my arm, So
I think God will reveal to us what we're ready to work on when we're ready to work on it. So it's kind of like peeling back the layers of the onion. I think our mind protects us from stuff sometimes. And then the further along we get from maybe that event or whatever it is, if we're ready to work on it, it will present itself. Something will trigger the memory or something will happen where you have to face it. And my philosophy is if that happens, then I know that it's time to work on it. Like for an example is my kids, the new job that I have, I'm faced with people losing their kids on a regular basis. And that was the most traumatic thing I've ever been through. So when this happened and I got this job, it's such a great opportunity, but I had to like say to myself, okay, like obviously God is presenting this to me because now it's time for me to work on this.
Right. And
Definitely.
that's so like Adam was talking about switching your perception. So when something comes up that bothers you and offends you, look inward. Don't look at who said it, why they said it, what happened, but well, why does this bother me? Like, is there some kind of false belief that I have about this still? Am I still holding on to some kind of shame and guilt about this, or some kind of like stigma, you know?
But you
Like-
got a matter of seconds to think like that before you're off in your old way of thinking, you know, because for me, I just get mad.
Yeah.
So you're saying like, look at yourself, like, what was my part in it? I think.
Well, sometimes you can look at yourself in hindsight, like even if you do get mad, because a lot of us do have like that knee-jerk reaction to like
Right.
fawn or flight, freeze or fawn. Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, or fight or flight.
Fight or flight or
Yeah.
fawn, right? Like, so maybe the anger is like a fight response.
Right.
But then later we can reflect back and say, like, why was I angry? Because anger is a secondary emotion. Whenever you're angry, there's a feeling behind it that made you feel angry. So why were you angry? What made you feel that way? What about me made me feel like I had to get angry to defend myself or
Right.
protect myself?
I've learned it's mostly fear response for me.
Yes.
You know, I start operating out of fear
Mm-hmm.
because that's like animal instinct kicks in because I'm back in the streets ready to whoop whoever's in front of me kind of thing. And that's not the right mentality to have. But it's mostly like she's been working with me. My wife's been working with me a lot. And I'd say 80 or 90% of my response triggers are fear response.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in fear of me leaving. I'm in fear of her leaving. I'm in fear of going broke. I'm in fear of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you operate in that essence. And sometimes it can jam you up if you let it.
I think 100%. I would say like, okay, maybe 99% of anger comes from some kind of fear.
Right.
Fear of not being good enough,
Right.
fear of not being accepted, fear of being rejected, fear of being abandoned,
Right.
fear of being,
Failure.
laughed at or failing or so many things. Like the root is always,
Opinions of others.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
What if I do this and they don't agree with me? You know, that was a big one. That was a big one
Yeah.
for me in the beginning.
Okay, let's try to catch up real quick. Okay, being single. Was there another question you said, Jamie?
Yes.
Forced me to face codependencies and fear of being alone, but God made a way for me to discover who I am beneath the layers. I loved it.
Yes, Chrissy, that's so amazing. And because we have to know, this is where I was going with this comment right here.
Mhm.
If we try to date somebody when we're in early recovery, we do not have the greatest picture of ourselves, right?
Right.
We're looking at ourselves from the things that we have been doing, which haven't been very esteemable, good
Mhm.
things, right? The way that we've been feeling, the way that we've been acting, the punishments that we've had, which is, jail or probation or whatever, you know what I mean? Punishment of having your kids gone, right?
Yeah.
That is a lot of yucky stuff inside of you, right? What kind of man are you going to A, attract, or B, think that you deserve if you're in that kind of state?
Yes.
Now, if you've worked on yourself and you start to build yourself up and you've got these accomplishments, you're going to be looking and attracting different kinds of people in your life than you would be in the beginning.
For sure.
Yeah. I don't basically, like, if you hook up with someone in like early recovery and they're in early recovery, you're probably settling.
You're definitely settling. Let's just be honest. Like,
I mean, I don't want to speak for like 100%, you know what I mean? But
yeah, it's definitely something to look at and consider. Like, what are my motives for wanting to be in this relationship? I know it can feel really good to have somebody like you and make you feel good about yourself, but is that the motive? Like, is it because I want somebody to make me feel good about myself?
right.
Or is it because I'm truly ready to be in a relationship? Because anybody who respects you and really cares about you would want you to really love yourself, because you can't love anybody else until you love yourself. So I think they would want you to have the opportunity to learn to do that. Yeah. Okay. April says, how do you feel when you realize you were no longer manipulative? And the first thing you thought of was how to get away with an issue. I think that's the most freeing feeling ever when you're not lying all the time anymore.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Relationship with Jesus aside from church that we grew up. Oh, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yep.
Yep. Spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. This is going to be a tough one. How can I get my partner into recovery? He wants it, but I know he's not ready, so I can't make him. I want to know how to guide him. I don't do drugs. I have no desire at all. I rarely even drink. I didn't mean to fall in love with him, but it happened. And now I want to help him become the man he was and give his life back.
Oof. I would want to know, how long have you been with him for, Susan?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to, I think that's, do you have any kids together?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Are you married?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think those all kind of play a bigger part. I know before, in my early recovery and active addiction, I was a fixer. I liked to date projects so that I could
Mm-hmm.
fix them. And then when I got my
2 years, no, but we both have kids, and
Okay.
no, we aren't married. Okay.
Yeah, just like, Susan, I just really want you to think about,
Man.
what do I deserve? You know what I'm saying? Like, and what am I willing to sacrifice and put up with it? And I'm saying, try to take yourself out of the situation and look at it from a logical standpoint and not just an emotional standpoint, right? Because it's easy for people to say, oh no, stay with them, or oh no, leave them, right? But it's like, you really have to decide, like, is this worth my time? Time is very, very valuable. Okay. Like, it's the one thing that we cannot get back.
The only
ever
commodity you can't get more of.
is time. So, do I want to continue to invest the only priceless thing I have in this world, which is my time?
Mhm.
Or do I feel like I need to just cut my losses and work on me and maybe find somebody that's
Mhm.
better suited for me,
Or how about this? I mean, let's say that you really love this person. If you've been together for 2 years, I'm sure that you really do love this person.
Mhm.
Maybe it would be good to just let them figure out their own path for right now. Let them build themselves up. Because the thing is, like, one of the things you said that I want to talk about real quick is I want to help him become the man he was and get his life back. There's 2 things in that. The first thing is that he's never going to be who he was because of the things that he's been through. That person is never going to return. He can become a better version of who he was,
Correct.
or he could become a worse version of who he was.
Mhm.
But restoring back to that person before he took the drugs and became addicted is not possible. Just, it's like when a person goes to war, they just don't come back the same.
Right.
And then saying, like, help him to get his life back. So if he is going to feel good about himself as a man, right? And he's going to learn how to do this for the long run, it's really important that he learns to get it back on his own,
Right.
because then he'll never have to say somebody did this for me. Like,
Right.
he did it for himself.
Self-sustaining.
Right. And that, to me, I went through that. And that's why I'm saying this, because my family cut me off. And they said, if you want to be in this marriage with my husband, they literally told me, we are not going to help you. And I'm so glad that they did that, because guess what? Everything that I got today is self-made, self-bought, and I didn't have to ask a handout for nobody. And it makes me feel good today that I do that. And I'm not going to say it wasn't a struggle, because it was a struggle in the beginning. But that struggle built me and made me into the person that I am today. So I feel like if you really, truly love him, like unconditionally love him and want the best for him, then maybe the best thing to do is just to kind of do you while he works on himself. And then if it's meant to be,
It'll come back around.
it'll come back around.
Set it free, and if it comes back, it was meant to be.
DMX. If you love something, let it go. If it comes back to you, it's yours. If it doesn't, it never was. I live by that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this right here.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. We have a man on here that says that exact thing. When I got into recovery, I had to do it for myself first. Because if someone did it for me, if I did it for somebody else and that somebody else was no longer a part of my life, I had to be okay with me to continue my part of recovery, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense, Scotty. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, she says, I knew that. I agree. I tell him that. I know trauma is not helping, and the things
He's involved with.
Okay, aren't good. It's not my life. I won't let it be. He says he's going to go to a good program, and honestly, don't give him anything. I honestly don't give him anything. He doesn't steal or anything. He won't let me go. He's too afraid. Thank you for the words. I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. We'll keep you guys both in our prayers
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see. I experienced that with my ex-husband after he stopped drinking. He was not the man I once married. Oh, he was worse. Yeah.
Right.
And that happens sometimes. Sometimes we take away the drinks and the drugs and they just become miserable. That's why it's so important to like work on ourselves, you know?
Because that's why they were in some cases, that's why I was doing the drinks and the drugs, because I was miserable. It was my version of escaping the self that I didn't like at the time.
Yeah.
Definitely relatable.
Okay, let's go up a little bit. Okay, this person's talking about being angry at God. Aaron says, when I came back to God in the church, my situation went from homeless under a bridge to having my own apartment and getting real help. I was angry at God for years. How about you, Adam? Were you ever angry at God?
Oh yeah. Super duper understatement, you know. My cousin got hit and run killed when I had like a year in recovery. My closest cousin had got hit and run killed, and they dude just left him on the side of US 41 dead. So I blamed God for that. Man. Then my brother overdosed the day before my 3-year celebration, March 10th of 2019. I'm supposed to be hanging out with him. We're supposed to be having a good time. And my mom texts me that Robbie's dead. And denial's the first step, right? She's like, I don't need to go to rehab. So I text my mom, Robbie who? And she said, Robbie, your brother, dog. And so I had a serious issue for that. Actually, if it wasn't for my wife, Jamie Tall here, I'd probably still be in the same place, in the same boat with the relationship with my higher power, with God, you know, because I was like, why, if you're of love, why would you do that to me? You know, but it wasn't actually him doing it to me. It was the choices or the accident of my loved ones that left me feeling the pain of them not being here any longer. You know, so that tore my heart out when Robbie died. And then my cousin got hit and run killed too, after going to my cousin's wedding a year and a half later, like almost to the day. So Robbie died the day before my 3-year. My cousin Cody got hit and run killed the day after my 5-year. My other cousin got run over around my 1-year mark. Like, all my family's getting yoked. Like, everybody that I had a relationship with that still was talking to me, that was proud of me, God was plucking people out of my life, right? But so yeah, I had a serious issue with God, you know, and then I still sometimes have it. I'd be lying to you if I didn't, you know. We'd be at it, me and her be at it, and it's like, bro, I know I prayed for this and you gave it to me, but I didn't mean this part. You must have put some emphasis on when I said crazy. I wasn't talking about that part, bro. You know, so I just you have to consistently work on that. You know what I'm saying? It really boiled down to me personally, of me being mad at myself and pointing the finger in the opposite direction. I was pointing it at the sky. It's your fault. It's your fault. But what I didn't realize is I had 3 pointing back at myself, right? It's not my fault they died. It's not my fault they got hit and run killed. It's not my fault that they overdosed, but it was my fault that the way that I was placing blame for things onto God, But in all actuality, now it's recycled fuel that I keep on doing this, that we keep on doing this, sharing the message.
right.
So in the midst of it, I was mad. I was 38 hot at the situation, right? But now reflecting now, 7 years ago, it just ingrained in me on why we do lives like this, why we encourage y'all to share and check out the YouTube pages and the Facebook pages, depending on where you're coming from. So, Aaron, you're definitely really relatable on that one for sure.
Yeah. And why we recover out loud. I mean, we recover out loud for those that are suffering in silence and those that don't have a voice anymore.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. So we have Tim says that he just got on this live, but his daughter Faith has her kids in DFS. She's on Suboxone, which is better than heroin. Yes, it is. But in Las Vegas, DFS won't allow that. In April, she could lose her rights to my grandson. What do I do? I've tried everything to get through to her.
DFS they don't allow it with a prescription from a doctor.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is, because I know they do here.
I mean, we're speaking, we only know Florida and Georgia, which is where we're located. And DCF, which is Florida's version. And then what's
defects in
defects,
Georgia.
defects
I had some
in
experience
Georgia.
with them too.
So yeah, that can be a tough one. Brandy's got a good comment.
Okay.
Can you hit Brandy's comment in response to Tim?
Yes, that's a good.
May I suggest to research her rights? I'm in Indiana. Suboxone actually allows your brain to heal while also in treatment. Praying for your daughter and you and the babies. Yes.
Thank you so much for saying that. And she does need to research her rights, because I work with parents who've lost their children and they encourage them. I didn't know that actually when I had a case plan that I was allowed to be on Suboxone. The reason I did a methadone detox was because I had a case plan. I didn't think I was allowed to take it. Nobody ever told me.
Right.
I wish I would have known.
Tim put a response up there.
What? Oh my gosh.
No, they don't,
that's
even with a prescription,
ridiculous.
because
some places
it'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, some places are still in the stigma parts of it. That's really hard.
Which is why we're on a mission to change how people look
That's
at
right.
MAT, whether it's Suboxone or cannabis. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Methadone treatment, anything whatsoever. It sounds like what was it? Las Vegas. Las Vegas loves to judge books by their covers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, you could try finding a recovery advocate.
KnowYourRights.org.
Where's
Down
that?
to.
Wait.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I didn't see it. Okay.
You might be able to check out that website. Brandy, thank you for sharing that information. KnowYourRights.org. We're not saying you're going to find the magical solution. We're just saying that might provide insight.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this might be something that you're going to have to, you and your daughter may have to fight, to advocate for it. Have some, I don't know if you guys have recovery coaches there. That's what we did.
They do. I know that they have some in Los Angeles.
Vegas. Well, he's in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cali and Nevada.
That's
so I'm not
crazy.
sure how it
what
works
about
there.
the Vivitrol shot?
Oh, I like that one. I wonder how that works.
That's not a narcotic.
That's a really great that's a really great
that's
statement.
a great suggestion.
Vera Honda, thank you for that.
Here we go. Here we go.
Sober Tribe Vibe in the house.
Thank you, Sober Tribe Vibe.
Yes.
Advocates from Mobilized Recovery and your local state officials.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and if there's anything we can do, let us know. We love to help and stuff like that for advocation. Whether it's in our community and you're in your community, we're here to help you if we can.
I have to send this to Steve for the Sally real quick. Sorry.
Well, trying to sweep addiction under the rug. What's up, Matt? Yeah, we're definitely, I know the state of Georgia has fought hard for law reform and for trying to change things.
Yeah, because they applaud you. You on Suboxone over there? You're getting yourself right. Good job.
Yeah.
Same
Let's
here.
let's highlight you because you're awesome, not
Mhm.
stigmatize you because you're trying to get yourself right or
Right.
take your youngins or whatever.
I'm
not
pretty
give you
sure
a
you can even
job.
get it for free here. Like they will help you get on it
Mhm.
and pay for it.
You know, that's what I heard in Fort Myers. Now they do the MAT, no charge
Mhm.
doctor visit, and it's
Yep.
$1 a strip or something like that. The MAT
Mhm.
program in Fort Myers, Florida.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just crazy. I can't believe that. That's such a shame. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's some great resources on here. So I would definitely look into those resources. Know your rights. And you know, there's some parent partner programs in Los Angeles that I'm aware of. So maybe that's something to look into too.
Mhm.
Well, Tim, we thank you for being on here with us. You know, we don't have all the right answers, but we have a community of people that truly love and care one another.
That's right.
And we're just out here trying to help. You know, we're trying to do what we can when we can, which is why they do a couple of these lives. If I can do a real quick call to action, we are trying to get our amazing sisters YouTube channel a little bit more.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see that. Hope Shot Recovery. Good job on the
Yes.
circle light. Check out Hope Shot Recovery.
Please.
Please subscribe. She needs like 400 more.
Yes.
So we're trying to get that to her hopefully by springtime. And we appreciate all the support on every channel.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we might, I don't know if we're going to do another live before tomorrow. Do you think?
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
but so this Monday we're not doing a live because they're going to be in Fort Myers.
Oh, right. Where are we
Well,
going to be on
y'all-
today?
Well, what time?
I'm not. It depends on what
It's
time.
If y'all can
okay.
push it,
Yeah,
if you
we
can
can
push
just
it.
do it when you come back. I know you guys are going to be with family.
Well, nah, I could use the hour break. What time we doing it? If y'all missed it, we started talking about relationships and recovery. So I'm ending it on that subject. You should so do the live. I would really think it would be beneficial.
Okay.
But we can work that out when the camera's turned off.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just keep your eye out. It'd be
Yes.
but normally every Monday at 7:00, we've made it now. We're so excited that we can
Yes.
go live on both Jamie's
Everything.
Facebook and YouTube, my Facebook and YouTube,
Yes.
all at the same time.
Spirit
Right.
fingers.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yes, every Monday, 7:00 Eastern Standard
Mhm.
Time, we will be live. We'll be here with you guys. So
Mhm.
definitely come join us, subscribe to our YouTube channels.
Right.
And yeah, have a great night, everybody.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.